day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on another episode of 24 News with Kuhle. I am your host, Kuhlekwethu Charles Maseko. Today I've got a very special guest, a local celebrity. You all know him, a comedian, the high in comedy. His name is Moshe Ndiki.
Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, today we're joined by the humble, most honorable, much loved Moshe Ndiki. How are you, Moshe?
Okay, thanks for yourself. Yes, is the way that you introduce me, I had to introduce a boxer. I'm like,
Well, ladies
I'm
and
good.
gentlemen, Moshe
I'm good.
Ndiki is a graduate, YouTube sensation, TV host, MC, musician, basically an all-round entertainer, just to mention a few. Amongst all of that, you are also an MTV presenter and an actor on The Queen. I mean, you've really done a lot.
Okay. Yes. I used to act on The Queen, and then MTV. I started. Well, MTV will always be my family. It's I used to be a presenter on Newsish, but now I'm on other shows. But yeah, I dabble in this and that. I go and visit sometimes.
So, Moshe, what ignited the spark in you to join the entertainment industry, considering the dangers of not always having a job or not always having a gig?
You know what? My first choice was to be a social worker. I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, cool. If that's not working out, because I was just like, no, man, I don't think I could handle being a social worker because I tend to take on people's problems on myself. And then I was like, okay, cool. But I've always been an entertainer. So entertainment was my second call. And then I was like, for me, I never actually even saw the part of it where there's no jobs, because when you're watching TV and you are entertaining people, for instance, when you're just entertaining people at home, and when you're in drama school, in high school, I mean, in drama class in high school, and nobody's telling you that no, actors don't have jobs. No one is telling you all of this. Everyone's just like, yes. No one is telling you about how hectic or how troublesome the industry can be. No one is telling you all of those things. So, of which I am glad. No one was no one was negative towards my dream of becoming an actor. No one was negative. So I think that also really did help me, that to just stay focused on the goal and to say, listen, I'm doing this. I'm not going to be looking, not that I'm looking at the pros and cons, but I'm just going to look at the pros.
I heard one of your plans include uplifting the entertainment industry for South Africa's next generation of entertainers. How do you plan on doing this mammoth task?
Well, within that, it's got to do with firstly how we treat each other as artists, right? And the platform in which I am going to do it on, I'm not yet ready to talk about. It's something that is going to be launched next year. But yeah, it just has to do with the way in which we treat each other as artists, and as artists that are looking forward to that are all planning to have production houses, to be directors, to be whatnot, to deal with the industry in a way such that I've also been an artist. I've also started on the ground, because I feel like a whole lot of things that happen is people just become like big shot directors, big shot producers, or whatnot, and they forget that they've also been artists, So which really has got to do with a whole lot of the ill treating of artists as a whole. So it's something that I'm very keen to do, and in changing the industry in that way. How I'm gonna do it, stay tuned.
You are a host on basically South Africa's very own Jerry Springer show, Tstotella. Tell me,
Yes.
Do any of the stories weigh heavily on you, especially those ones that are unresolved?
No, definitely. They do. Which there's no resolution or there's no solution. It doesn't go to say that there's no solution after the show because Tstotella has partnered with FAMSA. So if I'm not able to really give a solution in that time, because at the end of the day, think about it like this: it's television. In television, you get 30 minutes to do an episode, you get an hour to do an episode. But then now this is a family meeting, which generally consists of three people that are trying to talk over each other. Even when we have family meetings in our own families, no one can say, okay guys, we only have 30 minutes, so not to say that it doesn't get resolved, but the issues that don't get resolved on screen are able to be resolved off screen because of the partnership with FAMSA.
Oh, okay. So some issues do actually get resolved.
Yeah, no,
basically.
most of them get. If we don't manage to resolve them there on set, they then go to Nancy and FAMSA. If then if it's something that I'm not able to do, then we are able to continue and speak to them well long after the episode is shot, because I remember there's this other situation where it just took so long for them to just make peace and to talk. And when you watched it, because it was a 30-minute episode, and that was literally it. It was 30 minutes. But when we were done shooting, we were able to speak to them also in the makeup room and whatnot. Now we're speaking in the makeup room where the cameras. Not everything that is going to be resolved is going to be now shown on TV because not everything was shot.
So can I please ask, this is a question that I have personally. What are the difficulties in getting the protagonists to come onto Tstotella, the one that people see as the problem, to come onto Tstotella, such shows?
No, there's really not a problem. We do face some problems in terms of production, just to get them there. But now my job is literally I choose not to even just involve myself in how they got there. And for instance, because a lot of people, they want to resolve the issue. They want to resolve their sibling rivalry. They want to resolve whatever is happening. They want to see the person that's accusing them. So it's really not that hard to get them to come through. But that's more so on the production side, and I'm also on talent side.
Oh, I see. With you being a TV personality on Moja Love, like I mentioned earlier on, and most, or if not all, shows on Moja Love can be entertaining, funny, or sad. But on the other hand, what should Moja Love be doing to create shows or start shows that can uplift the youth? What do you think are the shows that we can
they have
introduce
right now? I'm not too sure if before you ask this, if you actually checked the shows that they do have. There are some shows that are uplifting the youth more than anything. They're trying to find jobs for the youth. They're trying to sort out issues of the youth, because at the end of the day, Tstotella as a whole, if you are someone that watches Tstotella, you'd be able to then gauge that it's actually trying to fix the youth, because what the episodes that I do with them, for instance, if there is a young guy that is addicted to Inyawupe, as I said, what then happens after the show? They're able to get help and taken to rehab. If there is someone that is stealing or does not want to go to school, what then happens after the show? When we get a resolution, they then go to, they then make a promise to their family, sit down or write an affidavit or write a letter to their families, promising to get better or promising to do better for themselves. And not only if they run away from home and let's say the family members are trying to get them to come home and fix their drug problems, their alcohol problems, that is uplifting a community. So in terms of uplifting the community, I think we are really much doing our part in terms of that sphere.
Oh, okay, because I do watch Moja Love. I'm a huge Moja Love fan myself. I watch almost every show on Moja Love, and I do see the various different contents that you have, Guki Tila, and all those things that resolve housing problems, title deeds, and all that stuff. But then a thought that comes to my mind is, why wouldn't it be possible that the type of channel that Moja Love is, and the type of people that it tries to attract, wouldn't it be possible for us to uplift our youth in a certain way, besides just showing the people that have Nyawupe, that can't we have educational shows on Moja Love, can't we have shows that talk more about
Well, that's
investing?
more of as I said, that's more of a production issue. So that's something that you would have to speak with someone from production. I am talent. So if you're going to ask me about presenting, ask me about presenting. If you're going to ask me about content, I'm not a content producer.
And then, so Moshe, how can we encourage the youth to join the entertainment industry, considering the high unemployment rate, difficult economic times, as well as difficulties of breaking into the entertainment industry?
More than anything, I think what we need to encourage from the youth is for them to be very self-reliant. When I say self-reliant, in terms, I think in terms of using the resources around them. I mean, especially now, hardly ever that we're going to be going to auditions, and it's going to be very difficult to be going to auditions and whatnot because of social distancing and permits and so forth and so forth. So I would really like to say to them, you are literally the main ingredient to your success. Create your own YouTube channel, post videos online. A lot of people are looking for content right now, and where they look for it the most is online, and where they discover talent mostly is online. If you make videos, that's your thing. If you make comedic videos, that's your thing. If you want to upload monologues on your Instagram, that is your thing. But we are at a space where now we really need to be self-sufficient and resourceful and use the resources around us instead of saying, okay, cool, but I went for that audition, I'm not getting jobs. You go to an audition, there are thousands of people at an audition, and it's not like we've got thousands of shows to accommodate all of the talent. So either a person is going to stay and sulk and be like, no, but I'm not getting jobs, I'm not getting jobs, I'm not getting jobs, or they're going to take the matters into their own hands and create opportunities for themselves.
So, Moshe Ndiki, I know that you are currently 32 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
You are very much mistaken. I am born 1992, 9th of March, so that would make me 28.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so you're 28 years old. And I'd like to know that I know that you hold a bachelor's degree in arts.
Yes, I
And
do.
now that you hold a bachelor's degree in arts, what was your plan to get into the entertainment industry? What was the first thing that you did to get onto the entertainment industry and actually get known as Moshe Obama? Because people know you as Moshe Ndiki, but
So my plan was to first really just get an education, um, and so that whatever I do, I would do it with substance. As much as the other people that can go for TV presenting auditions and land it right there, because I mean, this is not the type of industry where really you apply with a job or at an audition or whatnot or whatnot or whatnot. Maybe for production houses, that's very much possible when you want to do uh, directing, producing, and many other things, being a casting director and so forth. But when it comes to the talent side of things, it's very difficult to then say, okay, cool, because I've went to school, I deserve a better opportunity than someone else who just went to an audition and just auditioned and then they got the part. I think it solely and heavily relies on talent. If you've got what it takes, you've got what it takes. That's all there is to it. I didn't necessarily have a plan other than to go to school and get my big break. Didn't get my big break as soon as I thought I would, because obviously, as human beings, we are people of instant gratification. So we think that, okay, cool, I'm going to go to school. When I go to school, I'm going to graduate. After graduate, I'm going to get a job. And sometimes it doesn't work like that because that's the industry that we work in. Also, this is not the only, it's not the only industry that where people go to school and aren't able to find job opportunities as soon as they leave school. So, for instance, I started working on television 2, 3 years after I graduated, and in those 2 to 3 years, I was working in retail.
Hmm. So, what should we as South Africans be doing to promote our own content and decrease the ratio of people watching more foreign than local content?
Well, in terms of that, like, spread your content, because people like to think that people are going to come looking for your content, and then now we say no, but people are not supporting my YouTube channel. People are not. They don't know your YouTube channel. If you don't put yourself out there, if you don't send your links to people, if you don't send your links to, if you don't email it, if you don't send it via broadcast messages, if you don't ask your close friends to retweet for you to get your word out there, how do you think people are going to know your content? I'm not going to be sitting at home and be like, oh, actually, let me go cruise on YouTube and go look for. No, if I don't know and I don't have the link, if I do not know about someone, I can't be looking for something that I do not know. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
get yourself out there as best as you can by starting with the community that is around you, which goes back to say, people just really need to be very resourceful, self-resourceful, and be able to use the resources that they have around them.
Okay. So, now that you say this is from experience that I have personally. I am a person, I'm not sure if you know, I'm currently 16 years old. I'm still in school. But then I go to school with people we're diverse people at school. We've got people from different backgrounds and all that stuff. So when it comes to the entertainment industry, from my side, I know there are people like myself that watch Moja, which is 100% local shows, which
Yes.
does promote the local talent that we have within the Southern Africa, because there are shows in Lesotho and Kenya. But
Yeah.
then there are others that choose to watch your Netflix and your Mnets and all that stuff, which is more of the foreign content. How do we get the guys that are already in the industry, like your types of shows, to also to also appeal to those guys? That's what I'm trying to get to. That
So which
how do
guys?
we the guys that watch more foreign content, because you're already out there. It's just that how do we appeal to them?
How do we
What other
appeal?
methods could we?
Wait, to appeal to platforms such as Netflix or
Yes, how do we make sure that
that's
our own
you
people
know
start
what?
watching?
In terms of what we are doing right now, I think we're doing quite a great job of it. I mean, there are
Mhm.
2, 3 shows now on Netflix that are proudly South African and Africa's first. There's Your
Mm.
Queen Sono, there's Blood and Water, there's so many
Yes.
shows, and there's another one that's about to come out as well. So in terms of appealing to them, I don't think it should be a matter of, ooh, we are trying to appeal to them and we want to be on those platforms more than them wanting our things to be on their platforms. In terms of, we've got rich African stories, we've got our own stories that we just need to keep on telling, and we tell them the way that we know how, by being true to ourselves. But now, if we're going to be giving international platforms shows that are really that tell an American story. I'm sure it doesn't make sense, because it's like, but wait, how and why would I? It just doesn't make sense to me. Same way that it doesn't make sense to me when these American productions and um, actors are able to play a Nelson Mandela. Like, surely we could have found someone to
Mm.
play Nelson Mandela in South Africa and tell an African story. So I don't think it's really much about, oh no, what can we do to appeal to them, more than let's first appeal to ourselves, and the rest is going to work out. People are going to start knocking on Africa's door, of which people already have.
And lastly, with you acting on, used to act on The Queen rather, which is produced by Ferguson Films. What should we be doing as South Africans to start our own film production houses?
Start your own film productions. There's nothing else to do. It's like, what must we do for us to now start to literally reach out to other film producers, which is very easy. Then reach out to other film producers. Start your own clan, start your own web of people. For instance, as I said in the beginning, I can only speak on the talent side. I don't have a production house. So now, as a South Africans, to start our own production houses, I wouldn't know. Number been for local production company, I would have, but so abantu that would have experience in that is people that have what are these things? Is people that have production houses. So I really can't answer on something that I've got no experience in. I don't have a production house in.
Respected. Thank you, Moshe Ndiki. It has been an honor speaking to you.
Thank
you
so,
true honor.
Thank you
true
so
honor.
much.
And can I ask you, lastly, can you get me a job on Tstotella? A job, anything.
First, can you please finish high school and then we will talk.
Okay. Thank you, Moshe. Right, so thank you. Have a great one.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching our episode of 24 News with Kuhle. I was your host, Kuhlekwethu Charles Maseko, and our guest was Moshe Ndiki. I'd firstly like to say I'm truly honored to have interviewed someone like him. I'm also truly honored to have you guys, my viewers, as well as I'd like to send out a message of God bless you. Stay safe during these times of coronavirus. Let's all stay indoors, keep safe, and we'll be out again. We need to talk, friends, play ball, whatever. Good night, South Africa.